Hey, welcome to week 8 of Rise, the podcast. It's the weekly podcast that really intends to bring positive change to the world. The podcast that defends the small business owner, creativity, new ideas, problem solving, independent critical thinking, finding a new path and a new way forward with passion and, of course, some blood, sweat, and tears to make it happen. Each week, we feature great guests who are making a difference for the good. Our guest today is no exception to that rule. Whether it's how we do business or how we work or making communities stronger or eradicating poverty or touting abundance or new ways to heal and be healthy or empowering youth to be all they can be, yet respecting our elders and the stories they can share with us. This is a show that's a journey of new ideas, solutions, new thinking that is going to have us create a vision, not only for our own lives, where we want to be, but where we want to be globally. Welcome, Colleen Lindberg. Colleen is an author, speaker, business consultant extraordinaire, a podcaster, an animal lover, and an intuitive. Welcome to Rise.
Hey, David, thank you so much for having me.
A joy. So we've seen entrepreneurs really challenge these past 19 months. We're getting into 19 months. What is your estimation or what do you see is the future for entrepreneurship? Where do you see it going in the next 1 to 2 years? Because it's been a bit of a challenge, right? We can say.
Well, the way we do business today compared to the way we did business 2 years ago is definitely changed. And we are being called to step into alignment with our soul's path, or like passion projects, or, the whisper that you keep hearing or seeing in your life. Like those are the things that are coming through for us to step into business structures with. And we're doing it now. And it's not just, although each person has their own pathway, you're going to watch and see collaborative, coming together will really be a key focus as we maneuver through this, because it's not just about the individual any longer either. It's really about the communities serving the communities. So
I'm seeing the values-driven entrepreneur emerging too, and you kind of touched on it, where social causes are matched with launching a business. Are you seeing that trend too, Colleen?
Yeah, absolutely. It's got to be from this heart-centered space now that we pursue and step into whatever it is that we're doing. And if you are not in that space, as you're maneuvering through, you will find that it will be more challenging for you. It's just, we can't do business the same way that we used to.
Yeah. Technology is also going in places where we might not really like. One of the other components is, I think moving forward, and tell me what your take is not to lose our humanity in technology, but to bring in the human touch. So it's high touch in cooperation with high tech. What do we need to do to keep that human element and social connection as part of the business landscape? Because the other thing these past 19 months, has shown us is we've lost that human connection, 6 feet apart, all that nonsense, no hugging, no visiting. And they're even, laying down laws this past week, for Thanksgiving. See, your doggy's even upset.
He's passionate.
Yes. But, they're laying down laws of, limits as to how many people you can have Thanksgiving dinner with. So, what's your take on that? In terms of how can we keep that human element and that social connection as part of the business landscape moving forward, Colleen?
Yeah, such a great question. Because we are maneuvering and have been, since 2018, I've been doing a lot of stuff online with clients, but now, because of the shift that happened in the world, a lot of us are really dominantly online. We're doing meetings over Zoom. We're creating programs that are, group programs done online, and all of this dynamic. So how we can make sure and ensure that we still have this human touch in our world is more so getting out into community. And maybe it's not in a business sense, but it's more of a social setting and collaboration and in value system. So you can keep that alive inside of your life still while you continue to build in these high-tech environments. And I'm so sorry about my dog.
It's the beauty of podcasting from home, right? You know, it's like
every time, it doesn't matter. Every time I jump on, she does this when we're recording. It's crazy.
So yeah, so there's other ways to keep that human element going, not maybe in business so much, but also in our social circles and the things that we want to volunteer with and take part in. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, because if we are leaning really into online and creating online and expanding our networks online, then we need to make sure that that is supplemented in another way. And it's showing up dominantly for us to be able to do. Like, it's not that we just need to get connected that way and to look at it from that viewpoint and make sure and ensure that it's still in our world as we continue to move and build, as our businesses grow.
Like many of us, since mid-March 2020, our lives turned upside down, and many business owners have been forced to change, recreate, adapt. I don't want to use the P word. And you're no different at CLC Consulting. You've moved into new territory of using your intuition more. Talk to that if you can. What does it look like, and how has it impacted your work since you made that plunge?
Yeah.
And your boss is behind you, just whipping.
I know. I'm just trying to. She wants to be a part of everything. Apparently.
All right.
Say hi. Say hi to David. Yeah. Thank you. That's good.
And so, our viewers and listeners.
Yeah. We're all about the puppies too. It's interesting. It's like I say about this soul's path and maneuvering things forward. I was called into the same space. So I've been doing spirituality for 11 years, as well as business coaching for 11 years. And they ran in two highways, parallel, but they never intersected or crossed. And, and the whole thing is that we get whispers, so you might see it in a dream or think about it all the time, or things that light you up. Like, notice, like, things that light you up. They're coming forward now for us to integrate those pieces into our business models. So for myself, it was more so in alignment of my spirituality world in connection with business, and following that pathway and trusting that what I was hearing will produce and make the impact that is needed for people in the world. And it's really about listening to that whisper and really honing in on that centered space to be able to maneuver. And I live and breathe in my intuition every single day. So who I call, how I reach out, how I market, how I step in, how I create, it's all led by that.
And have you seen some extraordinary results as an offshoot of that?
Yeah, like just in general for my own self-connection, never mind anything else. What's really funny is I got a cat playing with a ball in the background in here too. So I got like a circus happening while we're recording this today, David. But it brings way more peace. And then I'm actually attracting the clients that are aligned in that same energetics that I can help serve. So it's just way easier than it used to be, we'll say.
Yeah. So less fight,
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, the other, key component, and you've talked about it, you've mentioned the word twice already. The other key component of your business is you're helping other business owners step into this word that you're using, alignment, in their business. Why alignment? And why is this maybe a missing piece of the puzzle for businesses to succeed moving forward?
Yeah, that's such a great question. I love that. So some of us don't even realize or recognize that, there's, I call it the old way of doing business, and almost it's the hustle and the push and the, like, all this dynamic, and it's like heavy and overwhelmed and we can't get everything done. And when we find and step into this aligned business model, everything flows. So we step in this powerful state so that we're able to connect, and it fulfills ourselves. So it doesn't, and like the cheesy line, like, it shouldn't feel like work. It really doesn't feel like work because you are aligning in the space. And it doesn't mean that some days you won't do 12, 14-hour days hashing stuff out because you got to set stuff up, but it means that it feels different. Like the energy around it feels different. And when you find that puzzle piece, like your piece to that puzzle for your business structure, it's almost like you can breathe into it and it makes sense for who you are.
So what I'm hearing from you so far is, step into like different types of communities, Really tap into passion projects, become more heart-centered. Stop, breathe, listen to your inner voice, your intuition, and then align it all up, and then the good things start to happen and unfold. And I sense that you enter into what, a miraculous zone when you do all of that.
Well, sure, we call it that, but it's like, it brings the clarity in. So you know exactly what has to happen. You're clear about the pathway and the purpose behind it, but it also brings in this different energetic. So what needs to be cleared for you to full-heartedly step in to this space will show up dominantly. And it's easy to clear now compared to before. Like, I don't know about you, but like 5 years ago, like you had to affirm everything to the 10th degree and like look at yourself in the mirror and do this forgiveness exercises. And, like we could go on and on with all the pieces that we were supposed to do in order to shift stuff. Now it's in real time. It goes, here it is. This is what you need to learn. Are you ready to learn it? And you go, yep, I'm in. And then you get in, get out, and you're done. Like it's so fast moving now. And the alignment goes boom, 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 when you are in that space of alignment. Right.
So what does it look like for a business owner watching this going, alignment? What would it look like for them?
Yeah. So like you are in, like, it's like the business is your heart centered. It's what's calling you. So it might be a service that you're providing or a product that you want to develop. And there's pieces along that. So like when you live in the soul's path, it's all intuitive flow, right? So it's about going, okay, you have this coaching business. Is it one-to-one coaching? Because maybe you launched one-to-one coaching because, a mentor told you that that's the model you should have, but really it's in group coaching or it's in building a community. And so finding the alignment in the infrastructure going, what do I really light up doing? Now, how do I build more in that? Make sense?
Yeah. So follow your joy and your passion. Yeah. One of the other things that you and I both have talked about off, today at other times, doing business has changed a lot in terms of restrictions over the past 19 months, mandates, making it really challenging for business owners to do business, to open a store, to serve food, whatever. How do you coach a client who's really struggling right now with that current social economic climate, Colleen?
Yeah, such a great question, David. You have these amazing questions. This is awesome. I love it. Okay. So the first
I don't mess around. I know it's
yeah, no, I don't. You don't mess around. This is awesome. So the first thing I would need to figure out from this person is, what do they really feel they need to be doing? Okay. So because each of our pathway is different, and some people are trailblazers, others are just leading the charge in this light-filled space around them. Others are completely clueless as to what's going on, and that's their path, right? Their clueless path. So we need to figure out, and most of the time I'm going to be getting, if I'm connected and you're my client and we're doing coaching together, I'm in the trailblazer or the illuminated zone. That's where I play. The clueless people and I do not get along because I just see through that, and we can't make it work unless I'm supposed to be there for a reason. So it would be like, what is the main objective? What do we really want to have do? And what are we willing to step behind? Because if you are the trailblazer, it's going to take courage of conviction for you to keep stepping in, and you need to know your rights. You need to know the law. You need to know what it is you're serving, and then be able to confidently step behind it. So it just depends on each person's value system, pathway, what they're meant to be doing. And from there, then it allows me to be able to coach them. So if they're the trailblazer, it's like, okay, let's get the, Bill of Rights up on your business and the Charter of Rights, and let's step behind it. Let's get you educated. So if a bylaw officer comes in, we can be confident in that space. And if they're just the ones lighting it here, it's more so in the secrecy of it. And like, how do we still nurture what we need to nurture and get this moving without having to, let's say, discord your value system. So it just depends on kind of where they fit in the mold of what's going on. I am working a lot with people in the US though. So I'm doing a lot more online program creation and getting people aligned in their offerings than I am doing like straight up like brick and mortar business these days. I'm sure it's for a reason.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. And also, do you notice a difference between Canada and the US in terms of the business climate? Yeah. Are they a
Yeah.
bit more progressive still?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They are.
Some
Well, and
states,
we're being tightened. Like the noose is tightening on us up here in Canada, more so than anywhere else in the world, other than Australia right now. Right. So
mm,
we're in a different dynamic, but yeah,
it's going to change.
it will.
Yeah. Now, the other element of working on your business in this environment we're in is that I'm going to quote, it's not about crushing your goals anymore.
It's not.
It's about working differently. We talked about some of the elements of working differently in today's business climate, like, slowing down, maybe mindfulness, practice mindfulness, shorter bursts. So maybe not working the 14-hour days, but maybe doing a lot in 4 hours.
Yep.
Rest, visualization, meditation. These are some concepts that business owners aren't really hip to, right? So, and they need to embrace, no? What's your take?
Yeah, so we'll always have the two spectrums, the ones that believe and the ones that almost believe and the ones that believe, right? Like don't believe in the middle somewhere along the way. But we are really in this energetic alignment right now. Like it's like going up like this. And when you're riding the wave, you ride the wave, right? It doesn't take effort to be in the wave when we're riding the wave. So life changes. It's about really getting clear about who you are, who you want to be in your business, and then aligning the tasks around that being. So the visualization is clear. What does a business look like? What are we trying to align or manifest in our business structures? And then figuring out the action items. And the goal is to be in your zone of genius and to delegate the rest. And sometimes that scares a lot of entrepreneurs because the budget isn't there. But when you flow in who you are and you are in your lane, the money will come to serve you to be able to back up everything else that needs to happen.
Oh, wow. So, and have you seen that firsthand?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So don't worry so much about money, because that's a big, it's been in the news a lot. I'm hearing rumors of, economic uncertainty and maybe a collapse or adjustment to the markets, supply chain shortages. We're hearing that. I'm hearing that in mainstream media. Never mind, offline kind of thing. So, to navigate these waters these days is really, as we have alluded to, are really challenging. But what I'm hearing you say is that if you're in alignment, things will come to you.
Yeah. So the lack mentality doesn't serve you, but creating more lack. So our goal, and we control us, ourselves, how we see the world, what the possibilities are, we control that. So no matter what's happening in the economy, there's still people thriving. Like I mentor in some of the programs with this woman that just did her first $1 million in 9 months in this year, like in this whole entire dynamic. And she is an amazing embodiment of energetics and how when you step into your energy, you can align anything. But you need to do the work, and you need to be on it and willing to do the work, because you're going to have to do the work on yourself, the way you think about things, your mindset, who you're attracting, what your business structure looks like. But the more you continue to align yourself and align your products, not just about the money, it's about the impact you're making, things will just continue to align. So even if the market collapses and we have shortages of food, imagine the possibility of being able to self-sustain yourself because you have these amazing relationships with local farmers in your area, because you've been out, socializing and building that community and getting in that space, right? It's just every single available possibility is there for us if we want to see the possibility.
Right, but we have to go after it a little bit too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So do the visualization, do the meditation, do that inner work.
Yeah.
But also do the outer, like get it going, like get into gear. Visualization without action is pointless, right? Because you're not going to attract what you want or what you visualize.
And a couple of things to note, just to add on to that, is the intuitive pull. So when you're visualizing this and you're seeing it coming to life, then follow what the pull is, like make that call, reach out to that person, send in that proposal, contact this or whatever it is, go to that event, sit beside that person. So it's like we will be guided in alignment with this vision if we listen to what's happening.
I love it. So I'm glad I touched on the economy because there's a lot of concern. I think you and I should do a little separate workshop on resources available for business owners who are being challenged by the rules these days, or not the rules, the mandates. So are you open to that?
See, I have a high level knowledge. I'd have to go in and get some definite info because I'm a part of a bunch of different collaboratives, and we've got people running, like, let's say the law or small business support groups. And I high level it. I'm up here kind of watching and whenever I need it, but we can talk about it for sure. I can get you connected to someone who's got some ton of info that may be able to serve it better. Yeah.
That'd be great, because that would be a great guest to have on the show.
Yeah.
So moving forward, what can we expect sort of for the rest of the year and then moving into 2022? Are we going to see some easement and more, like a little bit of a break from all this nonsense?
I would love to say yes. However, it's definitely going to keep getting steeper as we progress because there's truth that needs to be revealed. And until people are squeezed enough to show their true colors, it won't come out the way that it needs to be. So advice and words of advice for entrepreneurs, anyone listening to this, keep stepping into your light. So every day you get to manage the space around you. You get to manage the energy around you. You get to manage your actions. That is the goal. And it's a gas pedal down energy right now to the end of the year for entrepreneurs, meaning this quarter could be your best quarter of the year if you work the energy right. But you've got to get clear on what you want to do. You've got to get aligned in the products and services you're offering, and then take the courage and action you need to make it all work. And if you do that, you'll watch and see that this last quarter could be bountiful and amazing, and this amazing energy, no matter what is going on in the outside world around us. So don't allow the mandates to shift your energy in what you're pursuing. You get to choose how you show up every day in the world.
Yeah, and I had that happen last March when when the lockdown and the stay-at-home measures took place. My business went, and then I went, I got to get out of this.
Me too, same thing.
Because it was getting to me, and things started to bounce back. Where do we connect with you or to work with you, and what do you have coming up in terms of programming, web classes, events, things like that?
Yeah, so at the end of the month, the promotion will start this week for a program I'm launching, and it's about like literally protecting your energy and how to clear, negative energy around you, and teaching people, how to do it for themselves. Because I do have a lot of clients reaching out for me to do clearings because of the shift of energetics. Lots going on, right? So my mission is to service them that they can have the tools, they could do it themselves. So that's launching at the end of the month. And I'm rolling out also a free webinar near the end of the month too on how to create an online course, which will launch into a group online course program for people that want to build online courses. And Instagram is usually always the easiest way for me to be able to stay in touch with people. So the Colleen Lindberg on Instagram, they can find me there. Send me a DM if you have questions about anything. But yeah, that's probably the best place.
All right. And the last question is, you're saying you're working more with clients in the US. Mm-hmm. What's the difference in their mentality and spirit as compared to Canada? And what do we as Canadians need to do in order to level up? Because I think, swallowed down the wrong way.
That's okay. It's a pretty active podcast today.
The host just cacked out, choking. What do we need to do in Canada to level up? Because I find we're a bit complacent and we're a bit too reliant on the government, whereas in the US, they're more self-reliant. So what are you seeing some of the differences, nuances are, and what do we have to do as Canadian business owners to sharpen up a bit?
Yeah, like it's like for my Americans, it's gas pedal downtime and they're ready. Like they're done with the whole scenario. And even if
Mhm.
they're in cities that are like, California, I have a client out in LA, like it's like she's in that dynamic mandating energy, but she's like, this course is getting launched, we're doing this. And so it's got to be that grit and that self-belief in ourselves that we are worth enough to be able to step into this. And that's really the shift and change, is that they're done being in this position that they're in. Like they're done. They're like, I'm over this. I need, like, this is what I'm being called to do. I'm ready. So it's like really like honing in and leaning into that energy and not wasting any more time. Like it's time. If you are being called, because you've been thinking about it. It's time. Like, let's get it done. Let's get it set up. Let's get it moving. Let's go.
Yeah. So it's an exciting time.
Mm.
And if there's a takeaway, Colleen, it might be just that. Like the takeaway I'm getting is head down, ignore the noise, focus, and just go for it. Because look, if you don't go for it, you're not going to make any progress. And where are you going to be 3 months from now? Same, maybe even worse, right?
Oh, absolutely. And it's time now. It's time. Like, and I've been saying this for a while, but it is more clear than anything at all. If you've been thinking about it, it's time. Like, let's go. And it doesn't mean it's going to be easy, because it's going to challenge you, because we got to break the old system around you, because you're used to doing things a certain way, but it's time to break it. It's time to step in. Like I've got some clients having like meltdowns some days, but it's like, hey, we got to keep going. Like you've got a list, let's go. Like honor the feeling, but it's time. So
Last question. Is it still a good idea to have a business plan or write your goals down or your actions down and have a sort of a mental and a physical on paper framework of where you want to take your business?
So a couple things. It's shifting in real time. So meaning like this program that you want to launch today, then you might have a new program next week, because that's what the real time movement is in alignment when you're in flow. So if someone needs a visual, I would be encouraging them to map things out on a whiteboard instead of taking all the time and structure for a business plan, unless they need some funding. But in my brain space and what I teach, the money will come when you're in alignment, right? And my job as a coach or as a guide is to make sure that I'm not an expense. I become an ROI for you. And that's my whole energy around everything I do. It's like, you're not just paying out the money to build the course. Like I'm going to stay with you till you start making money in this thing, and make sure that aligns. It's hard to say, David, because there is some pragmatic people out there that need this details, but they're technically not my ideal client.
Yeah.
Because I work with people that understand the flow already, right? Where I know people in your world, some people in your world are going to say they need a business plan and and that's perfect for those people. But in the new paradigm of creating business now that we're in, at least where I coach in, it's different. It's all flow and movement, and it's listening to yourself as you maneuver. And we have some strategy around it, but it definitely is changeable, we'll say.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you so much for this. I want to thank you for watching and listening. Thank you for being part of Rise, the podcast. Our goal is to inspire individuals like you to rise up. This is what RISE stands for. Make an impact, inspire, be socially aware, and continue that entrepreneurial spirit to make the world and life a better place. Join us next week. I forgot who my guest is. Oh, Tracy Shea Porter from Yes Unlimited. We're going to talk about how improv can help build communication skills, grow your sales, and change the culture of an organization. It's going to be a really good chat. Until then, I'm your host, David Cohen. And remember, this week, rise up.